Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ina, and I'm conducting a webinar from Green Forest about indirect questions. Lots of students have questions about indirect questions, and I would like you to tell the secrets of a simple constructions of them. So, indirect questions. Indirect questions. The examples, I will read you some examples with indirect questions. For example, do you know where the bus station is? Or can you tell me what time the train arrives? So these are indirect questions. Why do we need to use them? We need to use them if we want to be polite. Usually we want to be polite with people who we don't know. So with our strangers, no, not our, with the strangers, not ours. And also when we want to just to sound nice, it's especially if we have to ask a range of questions, like we are writing a letter to some summer, let's say, English course, and we are writing to English school, and we need to ask like 12 questions. And it's not nice to ask all of them like directly. It's good when you combine both direct and indirect questions in your letter. Let's discuss what kind of phrases we can use for indirect and for indirect questions. And after that, we will discuss how to construct them. So the phrases, I'm going to read you over here them, and I will double them then in my presentation, but okay. I will write you just a couple of them. For example, do you think? Or do you happen to know? Or can anyone tell me? Have you any idea? Any idea? I will read you others, just not to write a lot of them, and I'm sure you can just follow me and write them down. I wonder, I don't know, could you tell me, do you have any idea? I was wondering, I'd like to know, would you mind telling me, do you remember, do you know, are you sure? When we want to use indirect questions, we actually have a direct question that we need to change. And this direct question will be either either yes, no question, sorry, or it will be WH question. Let's look at them and discuss the construction of indirect question. Let's look at the question, for example. Are you Scottish? Double T, I think, must be. Are you Scottish? This is direct question. How to create indirect question? We use our question question construction. For example, are you sure? Are you sure? And after that, we have to use with you such word as if or whether. And then we say, are you sure if or whether? Then we say subject, you, verb, are, and object, Scottish. Are you sure if you are Scottish? Or are you sure whether you are Scottish? Like that. I will write you a few more sentences that you understand better. The next one. Do you want some ice cream? This is direct question. We are interested in indirect question. So we ask the person, I wonder, or I was wondering. Let's write, I wonder. Then we use if, for example. If, then we say you, subject, verb, want some ice cream. And as you can see, we don't use do at all. When we have direct question with do, does, or did, we don't use it in indirect question. Please pay attention to that. Other auxiliary verbs like to be, to have, and modal verbs, they come back to their places. This is our indirect question. For example, can you dance? This is direct question. Let's ask. I don't know whether you, modal verb comes back, can dance. Like that. So this is also our indirect question. What conclusion we can make? How to report all these types were yes/no questions. Sorry, I didn't write about that. I said, but didn't write. Yes/no questions. So we report in here yes/no questions. Yes/no questions. So we are making them indirect. What kind of conclusion we can make? When we want to be very polite, we use our question phrase, and after that we use if or whether, and then we use a regular statement, what order, subject, verb, and then object. We don't use auxiliary verb before our subject. This is the most important rules that you need to remember when you want to use indirect questions. Let's move on. Another type of questions that we want to use, this is the WH questions, and that we want to report, let's say. Let's ask the question, what time is the train? This is direct question. Indirect. Can you tell me? Or could you tell me? Can you tell me what time the train is? And again, this is our indirect question. And from this, we can see that when we ask, we don't use if or whether. We need to use our question word, what time. After that, we use subject, the train. And after that, we use verb, is. And if we have object, we use object. But here we don't have anything. Let's move on. Where do you live? Let's ask, do you remember? Sometimes people don't remember. Do you remember where you live? So, question phrase, question word where, and then subject and verb. We don't use do in our the indirect questions when we report them, because it just disappears, let's say. Let's make one with do, but with did, for example. What did you do? No. What did you buy? I'd like to know what you and what. So I'd like to know question phrase, then what, our question word, then subject you, and then what we use as it is past simple, we form it into past simple. So when we want to use indirect question with WH question, we use question word and then again statement. We don't use the what order of the question. We use the what order of a positive sentence, of a statement, in which we use question word, then subject, verb, and object if it's necessary. I don't know, I can write one more, but I think that you've got the point. I hope that you've got the point. Now we will move on. I will show you a PowerPoint presentation in which you will need to create indirect questions. Let's look at it. Just a sec, guys. Sorry, you have to wait a minute. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to show you the words, the phrases that we can use when we want to create the question, indirect question. And after that, we will practice with you a little bit. You will have a minute to write them down. Okay. And action. Okay. So we have here with you, oops, sorry. Indirect questions, and here are the phrases that you can use if you want to create indirect question. Please look at them again. You will need to use them when we need to do the exercises. So what we have here, one more time. Do you think? I wonder. I was wondering. Do you know? Do you happen to know? I don't know. I'd like to know. Are you sure? Can anyone tell me? Could you tell me? Would you mind telling me? I love it. Have you any idea? Do you have any idea? And do you remember? Of course, there are more. I just wrote some of them, but I think there are much more. Let's look at the first exercise. We have here with you a question. These are yes-no questions. And from these yes-no questions, we need to create an indirect question. All right? I'll give you one more minute and then we will check. Let's check. So the first one. Do you think? You can use any question phrase, absolutely any. I just use the one that I like. whether it is going to rain today or tomorrow. Remember about whether if we use in indirect question, yes, no type question. The next one, do you happen to know if there will be another train tonight? Again, we use the what order of a statement. Do you know whether everybody has left already? Can anyone tell me if the meeting is cancelled? And the last one, I wonder if there will be many people at the party. The next slide, we have here with you WH questions, and we also have to create indirect questions with them. Ready? Let's check. So the first one, could you tell me when the train leaves? No does, no auxiliary verb before our subject. It's a statement. Do you think you could tell me, very long phrase, but anyway, it's a nice one, what time it is? Subject, verb. Do you have any idea why there is nobody here? Is there? There is. Would you mind telling me why you left, past simple we have here, so early? I'd like to know what time this shop closes. What must be with short, small letter, not capital one. I don't know how much this is. And the last one, do you remember when the plane from Paris arrives? Present simple, arrives. The next slide we have here. Yep, yes. The next slide we have here a question and a question phrase which we need to combine in one indirect question. You got again a minute to think how to create it. Ready? Let's check. Do you know where Tom has gone? Subject, verb. Could you tell me where the post office is? I wonder what the time is. I want to know what this word means. And the last one, do you know what time they left? Past simple we have here. Let's move on with this exercise. You have to do the same, just 5 more sentences. I guess you're ready. Let's check. I don't know if or whether you can say, Sue is going out tonight. Have you any idea where Carol lives? I can't remember where I parked past simple the car. The previous one was present simple. Can you tell me if or whether there is a bank near here? And tell me, it's also nice, tell me what you want. The last exercise, the last part of this exercise. Again, you've got a minute to think. Let's check, guys. I don't know why Kate didn't come to the party. So we have here the question, why didn't Kate come to the party? I don't know why Kate didn't come to the party. If we have negative, we keep the negative form. Do you know if or whether you have to pay to park here? I have no idea who that woman is. Subject, verb. Do you know if Anne or whether Anne received my letter? And the last one, can you tell me, how far it is from to the airport? I think we are done here. Just a sec. I will close everything and I will be back. Okay. So we discussed with you how to create indirect questions. It's very easy. One more time, I'll repeat you. We use question phrase like, do you know? Do you happen to know? Have you any idea? After that, we use if or whether, and then we use subject, verb, and object. So a positive construction sentence. If it is WH question, we use what or where or what time. And the same, we use subject and verb. I remember I wanted to tell you about the difference between if and whether. There is almost no difference. If is more common than whether, and whether is more like formal, I would say. And when we give the choice to the person, we use whether. For example, I'd like to know whether you like black or gray. Then we give the choice. That's it. Thank you very much for your time. Have a nice day. See you soon, guys. Bye.